Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Gajanan. Actually, my previous speaker, Professor Felix, he has given a broad overview of how the cultural aspects of tribals are seen in this country and what exactly the policy planners at the government level or at the civil society level or whosoever is the policy planner, how they are acting, how they are actually considering the tribal culture and what are their plans, whether it is right or wrong. There are some in few discourse although I agree to his viewpoints, there are certain aspects where I differ. So we'll discuss it in a later stage. I basically would try to present the policy framework that is being designed for the tribes at the country level, at the state level, and this is on in a government's perspective how government thinks and what are the policies that are being designed for the tribes and whether it is beneficial or not and what is the experience in the case of state of Odisha. I have worked in the two states with particularly with the scheduled tribes in Gujarat and Odisha in education domain. So I'll share my experiences. What are the small issues that we have that we taken care of at that point of time, and which has resulted into a good move. Prior to that, I would just like to discuss what are the different contexts in tribal development thought at the country level and at the different state levels. What are the government policies which are being practiced since independence? How the policies are being changed, whether it has a positive impact or not, all that. And then what are the different steps taken in the government of Odisha or the state government of Odisha, where the different policy dimensions are thoroughly discussed and it became a practice, and what are the outcomes of those interventions. And there are critical issues in tribal development, it is still there, and whether we have to think on those aspects or not, I would like to discuss on few of the points. The tribal education policy, if you will see the national education policy, the national policy on education actually it started in 1968, where it was told that it's a radical restructuring, where it was tried to equalize the educational opportunity to bring unity across the country. So it was during the regime of the then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, which actually focused on three major issues. One was compulsory education up to the 14 years of age. Second was the better training to teachers. And third was the three language formula, where three languages were tried to be introduced. One is English as the official language, Hindi as the national language, although there are so many debates whether Hindi should be the national language or not, and third one is the Sanskrit. But later on, every state has its own regional language, so those things are also being practiced at the schools, and the mode of teaching was also adapted into the regional languages. Then in the National Policy in Education 1986, it was during the regime of Rajiv Gandhi, where there is a slight change in the policy frame, where the thought process was that there should be little expansion towards expenditure towards education. There should be focus on even on the adult education. It should not be limited to the primary level only. There should be focus on the adult education and improving the quality of education. For improving quality of education, the capacity building of teachers is one of the major thrust areas in that policy. And these policies actually during the 1986 national policy on education, the core thrust was how to facilitate education for basically the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. Then Operation Blackboard started in 1987, where the focus was on improving the school infrastructure as well as providing access to primary education. Then National Literacy Mission in 1988, where the country actually asked all the adult members, all the adult age group people to come forward and take a step to mobilize children at the local area to go and enroll in the school, so that it started in a mission mode, and the entire objective was that there should be full enrollment in all the schools, and children up to the age of 14 should be there in the school and they should be taught. Then for particular focus to the scheduled tribes, in 1990 the concept of ashram school was started, but there was a thought that the children belonging to the scheduled tribes, they are not accustomed to the mainstream education system, or they are not very accustomed with the cultural aspects of the modern India. So there were some Seva Kendras were opened where the tribal children, those who are coming from remote areas, they are tried to upbring with certain skills. And then the open university system came in during 1992. Currently, if you will see, there are at the three domains, at the primary level, at the middle school level, and at the higher secondary level, there are three major programs of the government which is functioning. At the primary level, if you will see, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, which is a mandate during the time it was launched, it has a mandate that 192 million children will be enrolled in 1.1 million habitations. So its objective is also to enroll students in the school. The basic objective was providing universal access to education, then bridging the gender and social category gap. So the focus was also on the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, also the disadvantaged community. And then opening of new schools, wherever there is a school, strengthening the capacity and strengthening the infrastructure of those schools was the target in Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. Right now, currently the Right to Education Act is in practice, and it is also supplementing to the efforts that was brought during Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. At the middle school level, if you will see, Rashtriya Madhyamik Shikshan Abhiyan, it was launched in 2009. Where the mandate was that students should complete up to at least 10th standard of education, and there should be vocational education at the 11th and 12th standard level at the college level, and there should be enrollment of there should be particular focus towards girls, then scheduled caste and scheduled tribe children. The new concept which was emerged while launching Rashtriya Madhyamik Shikshan Abhiyan was opening of model schools in educationally backward blocks. It was thought that the children residing in the rural area, they are not accessing to high quality education. If you will see, the number of Kendriya Vidyalayas, number of Navodaya Vidyalayas are limited. So why not to expand those facilities at least up to the block level, so that at least in a particular block which is educationally backward, there will be a model school where children residing in those areas can come and study. So that was the objective was that to increase the gross enrollment ratio up to 75 at the standard 9th and 10th level. Then universal retention by 2020. And at the higher second, these are the schemes which was introduced by Ministry of Human Resource Development, which is particularly working for the education domain. But particular focus to scheduled tribe, if you will see, there are ashram schools which are running since 1990, where all these schools are residential schools. Then the government introduced Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalayas, where the dropout girls from remote areas, they are being inducted in those schools. They are provided residential facility in some cases, and the quality of education was tried to be improvised. And if you will see the education complex, this is also a scheme which was running since 1990, but the norms were revised during 2008, considering that the scheduled tribe girls, those who are dropout, and those who are residing in the lowest literacy blocks of this country, there this kind of school should be established, and those girls can be inducted in those schools. So if you will see across the country level, there are almost 800 to 900 education complex, and the best part of it is that the civil society organization, those who are working in the domain of education, are given an opportunity to share their experiences. They can also adopt few of the schools at the rural area, and they can also run a school under this scheme. So the government tried to take help from the civil society organization and partnered with them. If you will see in Odisha, there are 19 such education complex which is meant only for the particularly vulnerable tribal groups. We generally call them as PTGs. These schools are meant for those particularly vulnerable tribal groups. If you will go to Gujarat, you can see there are 36 such schools which are located in the tribal pockets, and our partner and for running and managing those schools, there are so many educational institutions which have come up and partnered with the government in managing those schools. So actually a mission era started during 2000, during the 2000 it started. So whatever scheme the government is trying to implement, or what are the different programs that government is launching, there are three key areas where it is focusing. One is to improve the access, second is to provide equity and equality and equity, and the third one is bringing quality improvement, that is excellence, both at the school education, I mean the primary and middle school level, as well as at the secondary level. If you will see the Ministry of HRD's different approaches towards education, if you will see, for access there are Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, Rashtriya Madhyamik Shikshan Abhiyan. Swayam is a new initiative which has started in 2014. There are different schemes of Ministry of HRD which actually started during the recent government's tenure, where the scholarship, providing scholarship to scheduled caste, scheduled tribe student as well as poor students are brought into a single fold, and there is a online platform where people can go, where all the registrations can be done. So it's a single window system which has actually eased the effort of the government in distributing scholarship.
Gajanan, make it fast.
Okay. So there are, but there is again a question whether the tribals need a separate focus or not. So there are different concerns which the government realized. So the government tried to, the Ministry of Tribal Affairs, which is working for the scheduled tribes, they have tried to implement few of these schemes. Eklavya Model Residential School, these are the schools which are equivalent to Navodaya Vidyalayas. They are established in the pattern of Navodaya Vidyalaya. Then education complex for girls, ashram schools, creation of hostel facility, then vocational training centers for students studying in the higher secondary level, in the 11th and 12th standard. And there are certain financial support schemes which are basically meant for providing scholarship or accessing to higher education. If you will see, there are few innovations which the government of Odisha did. One is the public-private partnership, which the best part of it is that it tried to take help from the civil society organization as well as private organizations, those who are working in the domain of education. Their strengths can be leveraged here, and there are certain service level improvement. If you will go to a school, you can find that the toilets are there but they are defunct. In order to revive all those difficulties, it partnered with few of the service providing organizations, those who can maintain in the healthcare services, those who can take help in case of developing contents, or in case of teachers capacity building. So these are the areas where public-private partnership was leveraged. Then the government also has a key focus on ICT in education, because if you will see, once a particular student attains standard 9th and 10th, afterwards everything has become online. You have to, if I want to apply for a scholarship, I have to go on, update my contact details, everything, my personal details in a website. Everything was become online. So one need to be very acquainted with learning computer skills. So the government also tried to implement projects which will actually help students nurtured with computer skills. Then there are urban hostel complexes which are being established at the urban localities like Bhubaneswar, Rourkela, Berhampur and Sambalpur, in those regions, so that students residing in the remote part can come and they can avail the best quality facilities, because most of the public schools are there in the cities. So why not a tribal student come and take admission in a public school? So he should get all those opportunities. Then girl child incentive program, in order to retain the girls at the 9th and 10th standard, the government tried to incentivize them. The scholarship was actually became conditional. So if somebody attains up to 75% of attendance during the 9th and 10th standard education, then only the scholarship was being released. There are so many debates why such a restriction was being imposed, but actually it brought a positive impact and the retention became high. Then multilingual education across the country, if you will see, Odisha is the only state where the primer are being developed for children, those who are studying at the primary level, specifically for the tribes. So there are 5 primers were developed in 5 tribal languages for the PVTGs, which help them at least in understanding or educating in their own local language. And there is a dictionary which was developed by the government of Odisha for scheduled tribes, which tried to explain the meanings in their own vernacular as well as Odia and English. Then there are certain efforts which try to maintain the environment clean and green. For that, the solar-based systems are being imposed upon, which actually try to economize the efforts of government and maintaining the environment clean. If you will see what are the different outcomes of all this intervention, I will not merely go into the, if you will see, the growth in literacy is there, but still there is a gap of 20%. If you will see if you will compare the literacy growth of Odisha when you compare it at the national level. The GER and dropout rates have significantly reduced over the years, but still if you will see, the gaps are remaining at 20%. And the dropout rates, although it is very low at the primary level, if you will see at the middle school level and at the higher education level, it still remains high. So you can see that in Odisha, even the dropout at higher secondary level is around 37 to 38%. However, if you will see what are the different outcomes pertaining to RTE, if you will see, there are schools in Odisha where sir was saying about inclusive education. They were saying that the tribes are being brought to a central location and they are being taught in a particular way, and they are not allowed to interact with the outsiders. So it's not inclusive. But in case of Odisha, what the government did was that they are also trying to induct students from the other castes, like SCs were inducted, and those poor children, those who are residing in these schools periphery, they are also inducted. If you will see, there are around 10% of students from outside the SC and ST category, while the ST category is around 80% and scheduled castes are around 12%. If you will see the academic performance, it is surprising to say that the schools, ashram schools, sevasrams, Eklavya model residential schools, which are run by the department, is performing much better than the school and mass education department schools or the other rest of the government schools. You can see the result what has come in during high school. If you will look at the high school results, the school and mass education school result is on an average of 84. It is the figure of 2014. But if you will see the school and the schools run by ST and SC development department, those ashram schools and seva ashrams, the average result is around 96%. So it is quite high. The outcomes or the academic performance is very high even at the higher secondary level, that is during 10+2. But there is again another debate. If this is the pass rate is very high, but what about the percentage of students, those who are acquiring first division, second division and third division? It is also, if you will compare with the state average as well as the schools from the ashram schools and sevasrams, it is still high in case of ST department schools. I will not take much time. So there are few positive impact of whatever efforts government have taken in Odisha as well as the country by establishing schools like ashram schools, sevasrams and Eklavya model residential schools. But there are still long way to go. The as I said, the dropout levels are very high at the secondary level, which need to be taken care of. And there is one more thing where we need a debate, that is in RT there is a no detention policy. So actually that reduces the students' learning ability. So we need to rethink on that. That is what I am suggesting for. And there should be a residential school for the nomadic tribes, those who are traveling from place to place. There should be particular focus for those students, and for those who are being displaced because of mining or any development projects. So that's what I look forward, that this country will take a view and take a policy decision. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Gajanan. Now I would like to